Since this is a picture about hell and the devil, what more fitting climax for our curse than for this production to end in a blaze of glory? Eddie, there has to be fire.
You mean like a mock burning of the witch? Send old Hester to the stake?
No, Eddie, I mean a real fire. Oh, God, what a marvelous image I have. All the sets from Mansion of the Damned being enveloped by a wall of flames.
You mean you want to set fire to the studio?
Oh, after we complete filming, of course.
I thought I had some wild ideas.
Look, this happens to be the most practical thing we can do, for more reason than one.
But do you realize how much money Owen has tied up in the renovation of that soundstage?
Money he'll never recoup, unless this film grosses an awful lot of money.
Well, he could rent out the studio.
To whom? It was abandoned for years before Owen got a hold of it.
Maybe the picture will be a great success and we can do the sequel, Return to Mansion of the Damned.
Eddie, Owen has the place insured. This way, he's guaranteed to get back at least part of his investment.
No, you make this sound like we're a couple of Boy Scouts doing their daily good deed.
I rather like that analogy.
But we just promised Owen that we would do no more pranks, no more projection of ghosts onto terraces, no more chandeliers falling, and now you're talking about arson.
But nobody's going to get hurt by this.
It's still against the law.
Only if we get caught, and we won't. Eddie, the sets of Mansion of the Damned going up in smoke would make every news service in the country.
Yeah, it could be quite a media event.
You think of all the free publicity. Well, it'd be a crime not to do it.
Nola, the only publicity I see us getting out of this is from the picture in the paper when we get arrested. I can see the headlines now. Movie star gets 10 years.
Oh, but look, there are so many combustible things around that studio. Who's to say a cigarette butt didn't start the fire?
Nola, do me a favor. Will you just please put this right out of your mind, and I will just pretend this conversation never existed.
Well, you don't have to help me, you know, Eddie.
Does that mean I'm going to have to search your bag for matches every time you leave the house?
It happened before, you know. The second production of Mansion of the Damned ended because of a fire. That's where I got my idea.
Only ours will take place after we finish shooting.
Exactly. Oh, Eddie, please consider it. It makes sense from so many angles.
Look, Nola, I simply don't look well in prison gray.
Look, it's the perfect way to convince people that our story does have a curse on it. Oh, people will line up in the dead of winter to see what the devil was so upset about.
Please, just forget it, Nola. It's too risky.
All right, Eddie. I suppose you're right. I guess I did get carried away. Just forget that I ever said it,
You, really sure that I can forget it?
Oh, well, of course, Eddie. You're absolutely right. It's risky, it's foolish, and we did promise Owen that there would be no more publicity stunts.
From now on, we're on a good behavior, right?
Yeah, we can thank Detective Saxon for that, can't we? She seems determined to spoil everything for me.
Oh, come on now, Nola. She's keeping our secret. I mean, we should be grateful.
Grateful? To her?
Well, if she blew the whistle, we could get into a lot of trouble.
You realize why Owen got the promise from her, don't you? Because she's in love with him.
Oh, now, don't start that again, Nola.
I'm sure they've been together. I could almost smell her cheap perfume on him.
Please, just cut out that kind of talk.
Yes, you're right. I don't have time for talk right now, anyway. I have some calls to make.
I'm up. I just was resting with my eyes closed.
Yeah, look, I have had a long day. Last thing I need is somebody loitering on my desk.
Why don't you arrest me?
Don't tempt me.
Oh, I won't go quietly. You'll have to drag me in the back room and coerce me.
Don't get your hopes up.
When are you going to realize what a prize catch I am? You know, someday some woman's going to come along here and sweep me off my feet.
Well, when you find a candidate, let me know. I'll send her a broom.
That's one for you. I heard about your problem. Some guy giving you a hassle?
Who told you?
Oh, you guardian angels have our sources. Somebody got themselves into your apartment, made a mess, and now they're making weird phone calls to you.
You know, if this call had come from a heavy breather, I would have put you on my list of suspects.
That's two for you. Well, at least we know the suspect is not asthmatic.
That's not funny. No point.
I'm sorry. I just thought I would come by and stay by you until this thing's straightened out.
Look, I have enough problems without you, Cliff.
No, you're not going to talk me out of it. I'm going to escort you home.
Look, no, you're not.
Hey, you can't stop me. I mean, I'm just walking the streets. You know, I have me going the same direction as you.
You know, I should have used this billy club on the top of your head instead of the bottom of your feet.
I'd have sued you for assault. Think of me as in training for the Olympic walking team, and my course happens to go right by 265 Spruce Street.
What a coincidence.
Look, I'm going to take care of you whether you like it or not.
Well, just don't walk very close to me. The less people who know where to get it, the better I like it.
Keep telling you, I'm wearing you down.
Let's just go.
Oh, by the way, have you met the new boss?
Oh, you mean Chief Mallory? Yeah, I met him this afternoon.
Chief Derek Mallory. Whoever heard of a chief of police named Derek?
Whoever heard of a pain in the neck named Clifford?
That's three for you. What's he like, anyway? Everything I read about him in the paper makes him sound like this tough super cop you only see on TV.
I don't know him very well yet. Although he should have taken a course in manners when he was at the police academy.
Just who do these people think they are, anyway? Junior G-men?
I don't know if the auxiliary police would care to be referred to that way.
They're just a bunch of citizens who get their jollies dressing up as cops and going out on patrol a couple of nights a week.
Look, I don't know what it was like where you came from, but here in Monticello, those people perform a pretty important function.
Now they want to ride around in unused patrol cars.
Well, they say it's going to give them greater mobility. Look, I hope you don't mind the suggestion, Chief, but the way you handle this is going to be kind of important to the image you project in this town.
Well, I'm going to do what I think is right. Not what I think is going to be popular.
Well, I'm just glad it's you that's got to deal with all these problems instead of me.
From what I've seen, you did a pretty fair job as acting chief.
Well, thanks. But as soon as I finish briefing you with all these pending things, I'll be more than happy to get back on the street and start chasing the bad guys.
Now, the streets are all right, but the real challenge is here in administration.
Well, I don't know if I envy you. You're going to have a big problem following in your predecessor's footsteps.
St. William Marceau, huh?
Man earned a lot of respect.
No, I haven't heard a discouraging word about him since I hit town.
Well, guess a lot of people were just unhappy to see him leave.
From what I've seen, Marceau ran a pretty loose ship.
Well, he was a fairly easygoing kind of guy, you know.
You don't always get results saying please and thank you, not in this kind of job.
Why not? I've never seen it hurt.
What this department lacks is discipline, and that's the one thing you have to operate at maximum efficiency.
Whatever you say, Chief.
Well, maybe that's why this department is nowhere near as good as it could be. Because Chief Marceau was Mr. Nice Guy. I'm sorry, Stoner. I suppose that last remark was a low blow.
Yeah, well, all I know is Bill Marceau was in this department for 30 years, and most of that he spent right here in this office. Now, that's got to prove he was doing something right.
Hey, the last thing I intend on doing is being one of those administrators who justifies the fact that he has a problem by saying he inherited it from his predecessor.
Yeah, well, no matter how much experience you've got, running a department like this is just not an easy job. And you are fortunate to have a bunch of good cops working under you.
Well, maybe they just haven't been put to their best use, though.
What's that supposed to mean?
Something I've noticed that the chief seemed to condone, which is going to stop now that I'm here, is this practice of assigning 3 detectives to one case.
Oh, I see. You're talking about my working with the detectives Guthrie and Saxon.
The 3 Musketeers, isn't that what they call you?
Well, it just so happens that we were pretty efficient together.
When it takes 3 detectives working full-time to crack one case, they sound more like the Three Stooges to me.
I see. Well, that's something that you won't have to worry about. We broke up that partnership some time ago.
I don't care what I have to do, Stoner, but I can promise you I'm going to make this department shape up.
Don't you realize we're all behind you 100%?
I'm going to weed out the misfits and incompetents and turn this into one of the most respected law enforcement agencies in the country.
If you would care to check the statistics, you might find that we were right up there with the best of them even before you arrived, so...
Well, the status quo isn't good enough.
Well, everybody expects you to make some changes.
I can promise you this, Stoner, I'm not going to make changes just for show. I'll turn this department inside out if I have to, whatever it takes to get the results that I want.
New broom sweeps clean, is that it?
You're not looking at a new broom, Stoner. I intend to be a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, hi, Eddie.
Hi, kid.
Warm night for November, huh?
What are you doing back so late? I thought you were directing this epic on a flat fee. I didn't know you were working by the hour.
No, I got a pretty big day tomorrow. I'm to make sure all my camera angles were planned out.
What I hear, you're turning into a very fine director, Brian.
Oh, thanks. I'm getting a hell of a lot of cooperation.
You're putting everything you've got into this project, aren't you?
Well, no more than anybody else on the team. Frankly, I think we've got a hit on our hands, Eddie.
Don't count your chickens. You never know that until the picture opens.
Yeah, it'll be quite a while.
Just keep everything in the proper perspective. Don't let yourself get built up to a big letdown.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, sometimes, no matter how hard you try or how good your intentions are, things still don't come out the way you hoped they would.
Eddie, is something bothering you?
Yeah, I'm worried, kid.
Look, I told you, the picture is coming along just fine.
Yeah, but I'm afraid Nola isn't. That's what's bothering me. Bothering me a lot.
Oh. What makes you feel that way?
Well, when I came barging into this house with that script, well, your mother was having a few problems.
Which you thought would be solved by getting her back to work again.
I thought it would be good medicine, and now I find that I'm worrying about whether this picture has left her worse off than she was.
Eddie, if this picture is a success, Mom's going to have more offers than she'll know what to handle. She'll be working so hard she won't be able to slide back to the way she was.
Suppose it's a flop.
You know something? I come from the Eddie Vaughn School of Good Vibrations. This picture is going to be a hit.
Nola isn't going to be the only one that comes out smelling like a rose if Mansion is a big smash.
No, Dad'll have another success, and Paige will be launched as an actress.
Oh, the director may do pretty well himself, you know.
Well, one thing I do know is that I want to try to stick with directing, Eddie. I really like what I'm doing. In fact, when this picture is finished, I just may pack a bag and head back out to Hollywood, if I can scrounge up some work.
I thought you intended to stay here, go back to work for WMON, maybe try your hand at a few industrials or some TV commercials.
Eddie, no, if I'm going to be serious about this, I've got to go where the action is.
Oh, the Madison family is a very tightly knit unit. I'm surprised you think of going away.
Oh, hell, Eddie. There isn't any reason I can't tell you this. You're practically a member of the family as it is.
Tell me what?
Eddie, the reason I have to put some distance between myself and Monticello is because I want to get away from Paige. Because I have to get away from her.
Why would you feel a crazy thing like that?
Eddie, do you remember when Paige and I were children, how much we cared about each other?
Oh, sure. I also remembered you used to fight like cats and dogs sometimes.
Well, by the time we became teenagers, Eddie, Paige and I, well, we fell in love.
Hey, Brian, What the hell are you saying?
Eddie, we knew we were related, but only by marriage. No blood ties. Only it turns out that just isn't true. You did know this, didn't you?
Oh, listen, kid. Oh, my God. Why didn't anybody tell me this?
It was resolved a long time ago, Eddie. Over 3 years, as a matter of fact. Dad marched me into his study and gave me the news, straight from the shoulder, that he was the daddy, and that Paige and I were really brother and sister. How do you like that for a kick in the head?
My God, Brian. Oh, I never realized anything like this.
That's what Dad said. He never realized anything like this could ever happen. That a brother and sister could never fall in love. Well, surprise, surprise. It happened. Now we just have to live with it. Hey, you did know this.
Well, I guess I knew your mother and father, we go back a long ways, all of us.
You were always very good friends.
We still are, Brian. You know that, don't you? Look, does Paige know?
Yeah. Paige knows the truth, finally. We both thought that we would be able to work this out. You know, go our separate ways, find other people to care about. All very simple. Not so simple.
You mean you still feel the same way about her? Is that what you're trying to say to me?
That's why I left before, Eddie. That's why I've got to leave now.
Oh, my God. Oh, Brian, I am so sorry. My God, how you must be hurt.
There's not much you can do about it, is there? We just have to handle it. Somehow.
Cliff, you really missed your calling. You should have joined the Secret Service.
There's only one body around here that I want to guard.
Look, you've been a very nice watchdog today, so why don't you scamper off home, and the next time I see you, I'll give you a big phone.
Hey, wait a minute. If I left now, I'd be thrown out of the Guardian Angels Union. I'm going to check out your apartment.
Cliff, you don't have to do this.
Oh, yeah? Suppose there's a gang of thugs in there just waiting to commit despicable acts upon your person.
You fight them off single-handedly.
Oh, who do you think I am, Steve Guthrie? No. If there's somebody in there, I'm going to run like hell and get the cops.
Cliff, why am I whispering? There's nobody in my apartment.
You know. Somebody in there. I'm serious. Look. I'll go in. You stay right there. Stay right there.
Hey, what are you doing in here? Get away from me. What do you mean fooling around this woman? Get away from here. Get out of here. Hey, get out. There's this guy when I came in. He's about 6 foot tall. He's really... He just went up the fire escape. You can see him if you look. I was gonna... Got a drink?
Yeah, I need one, too.
Well, at least the guy didn't take the stereo. Of course, the way music is these days, who would want it, you know? Ever know how much new wave music sounds like old rock and roll? Well, at least we know that this criminal is not asthmatic and hates music. Thank you. I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to repay your kindness, ma'am.
Just don't bother.
No, really. I think... How about breakfast in bed tomorrow?
I knew you were going to say that. Do you ever stop, Cliff?
No, persistence is my middle name. That's why I have trouble. If you had to go through your childhood with a name like Clifford Persistence Nelson, you'd have trouble too.
Talk about persistence.
The mystery caller.
Well, I don't know who else it would be. None of my friends call me this late. You're here. Maybe it's somebody from the department. Hello? Hello?
Whoa, wait, you're really letting this creep get to you, aren't you?
The moment that phone rings, every muscle in my body tenses up.
Look, I'm really sorry about that joke I played when I came in here. Don't people make calls like this usually turn out to be harmless? I mean, maybe it's because I'm male and phone calls don't bother me.
Cliff, don't use that on me. I'm more mystified by this caller than scared.
Look, why don't you sit down, all right? Did you talk to the phone company?
Yeah, I talked to the investigator. He said there's no way we can trace the calls, but changing my phone number tomorrow, so it'll be unlisted.
Well, that should solve the problem. You know, Scarlett, maybe it's just not the phone calls. You know, you're under a lot of tension now. You got a new job, you got a new boss. Your social calendar isn't exactly empty, that's for sure. I think you're having trouble deciding between Owen Madison or Steve Guthrie or...
Cliff.
When are you going to realize that these guys are bad risks, you know? Going out with a cop is just as bad as going out with a married man.
Please, this is none of your business. I'm going to take that
Wait.
damn thing off the...
Let me answer it, all right? Maybe a man's voice will frighten him away. Hello? Look, will you speak up, please? I can't hear you.
Are they saying something?
He seems to have a very limited vocabulary. Will you speak?
Cliff? Cliff?